You're listening to Crystal and Emily on Love Your Shelf, the best librarian podcast in the extensive and highly competitive field of librarian podcasts.
Hello.
Hello. It's Friday.
Thank goodness. Or
And-
TGIF, excuse me.
Yeah, we're real up on the current lingo.
That's what the kids are saying, right?
So today I want to talk about guilty pleasures.
Which is pretty much just all I'm into. It's just pleasures.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we're going to own it. We're not going to feel guilty about it.
Well, and especially, I don't know about you or anyone else, but this last year, my goal with entertainment was not necessarily like to grow. It was more to comfort.
Yeah.
And be a warm hug or sometimes a dark hug, depending on what kind of mood I'm in. But yeah, that was my goal. So here for it.
I like the dark hug myself.
Sometimes it's what you need, weirdly enough.
So, but before I get into that, I do want to mention a couple of nonfiction recommendations because I just came across them this week, and we're going to have them in the library. And I thought there might be people out there who might be interested.
Great, yeah.
And the first one is Why We Can't Sleep, Women's New Midlife Crisis by Ada Calhoun. And
I'm laughing because Crystal has trouble sleeping.
Yeah, a lot. And this book is does interviews with like people my age, who all women that are like sort of middle class, middle aged, from all over the country, and ask them, like Generation X ladies, like apparently we are all exhausted. And
it's unanimous.
Yes. And so there's this part of, in the 80s it was sort of, you can have it all, that kind of thing.
Yes.
And now we have it all, and we're like, it's too much.
It's exhausting
some of it back.
to have it all. Yes.
And so there's lots of anecdotes because of their, it is coming from these individual interviews. When like a mother takes a hammer to her kid's iPad when he doesn't do his homework. And some
I'm
of the things
jotting this down.
Yes, exactly. And some of these are funny anecdotes, but a lot of them are only, you're laughing to keep from crying kind of thing.
Right.
So I think it's great, and we'll have a copy here in the library soon. So
I think
anybody
that's
that wants to
great
do
too.
Yeah, and I don't think that it's just for middle-aged women. I think that this is sort of a conversation that's about the state of the country.
Yeah. Well, and you could do, or someone could do, the millennial version. We're exhausted too, but it's we were raised a little bit differently. It's different things. I want something that covers like every generation.
Yeah, exactly. And where we are is where you're headed.
Right. Yeah, no, preparation. Thank you.
Or hopefully, steering in a different direction.
Yeah. Too, okay. I guess I'm not in a positive mindset. I was just like, well, yes, you're right. That's it.
We're doomed.
Might as well just lay down and take it. But cool.
Yeah. So another one, which is I guess, I don't know, counterpoint to that one. It was recommended to me, and I haven't finished it, so I'm not sure if it's like something that I highly recommend, but it's called Building a Vibrant Community: How Citizen-Powered Change is Reshaping America by Gwent Studer. And I know that in Nacogdoches specifically, there
Mhm.
are a lot of people who are working really hard
Yeah.
to make this a better place. And
Yeah.
I think that, there are people who are, doing the work and doing hard work
Mhm. Mhm.
and anyway, this book is intriguing because it is kind of like giving a guide for the most effective way to do that.
Cool. I
Yeah.
really like that. Yeah.
And so, of course, obviously in the jobs that we have as public servants,
Yeah.
we're, I'm concerned about those things every
Yeah.
day. That's
We
what,
value that. Yeah.
yeah, that's what drives us. So anyway, I'll report back if it seems like
Yeah.
it's going to take
Please.
us into a good direction.
Yeah. Please do. I,
And then one last memoir,
mhm.
nonfiction rec, is Uncanny Valley by Anna Wiener. And
Mhm.
Uncanny Valley is one of my favorite
Yeah.
terms.
I was gonna say a great memoir title too,
Yeah.
like specifically for a memoir.
Yeah. Uncanny Valley has to do with how technology, or like specifically
Mhm. Mhm.
like robots or any kind of technology that tries to look like a human being,
Mhm. Okay.
um,
Yeah.
that there's just this strange relationship that we have to these things that are tried to like look like humans,
Mhm.
because it doesn't exactly. And
Yeah.
that's the uncanny valley where it's like
Uh,
approaching looking real, but it's not.
it's still off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like everybody gets creeped out by that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so this is about the tech industry, and she is talking about Silicon Valley
Mhm.
and how, like, specifically how she related as a woman, and um, it gets into her personal narrative, but it's also about this like startup culture and how it's
Yeah.
um, pretty dismal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's like a
And
lot of behind the scenes kind of
yeah,
perspective.
a lot of desperation, I would imagine. And I don't know. I really, my only look into that world is the show Silicon Valley. And I don't know how accurate it is, but if it is anything like that, I would love to hear what a woman has to say.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh. The bros.
Yes, yes. I mean, it is just such a boys club.
Yeah. I have a feeling that that's probably pretty close. Well, I mean, Silicon Valley obviously is way over the top, but
Right, right.
I
Yeah, but
bet that there's
because
some
yeah,
reality there.
there's lots of parallels that you're just kind of like, okay, you are obviously talking about this company.
Yeah.
And I don't
Or
know.
this person. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, yeah. But anyway.
Anyway, so those are my nonfiction recommendations, and now we can talk about our guilty pleasures.
Yeah.
I have a thing for cookbooks and like cocktail books, which, especially this last year, it's ridiculous. It's not like I'm having dinner parties or,
Right, right.
anything like that. And these cocktail books, like literary ones
Uh-huh.
especially,
Uh-huh.
they have some great titles, which
Yes.
just, like Tequila Mockingbird.
Yes.
I mean, come on.
Yep.
Are You There, God? It's Me, Margarita.
That
Which
is hilarious.
is perfect on so many different levels.
I know. Oh, that works. I love it.
And then, things that are a little more stoic, like A
Sure.
Drinkable Feast,
Okay.
instead of A
Yeah.
Movable Feast. Yeah. So, yeah, those are a little bit my guilty pleasure. I like a pun, and I like, you know, there's actually, it ties into another of my guilty pleasures is
Uh-huh.
watching these video things. And there's, content creators out there for anything you can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's this one specifically which making cocktails that are like in this sort of retro, mid-century modern
Uh-huh.
setting,
Uh-huh.
and then lays like elaborate cocktails, and it's just I can zone out and watch that for,
Yes.
20 minutes straight. And
Yes.
I'm not drinking cocktails. I'm just watching somebody else make one,
No, but it's another sort of, fantasy life. You
Yeah.
have the chance to imagine that life
Yeah.
without having to, put on the 1960s dress and weird bra and all that.
Right. And the your liver does better if you're
Yes,
if you're just watching
apparently.
the videos.
That's right. That's great.
So yeah, so that, and any kind of cookbook, but there's a lot that are just beautiful to look at, just to fantasize. But anyway, so when we have a ton of those here in the library, so
Right, sure.
yeah, check them out. And also, I kind of hesitated to put this as a guilty pleasure because a lot of people are really into this writer, Jojo Moyes. And I've read a ton of her books. They are like on the lighter side, particularly for what I typically read.
Right.
But they are good. I mean, they're,
Well, and that's what I was gonna say, because I have something, sort of similar, and I think the guilt is more me guilting myself, like, oh, I should be reading something else, like it's something that makes me think a little bit more. But
yeah.
you know what? If I can zoom through it, I obviously love it, and that's just how it is.
Yeah. Just that's that.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think they're good. Like Me Before You, there's a movie that came out of that's really great.
Oh, yeah.
Giver of Stars a couple of years ago, everybody read that. It was super popular. And then one from several years ago that I don't hear talked about much, but that I really liked was Ship of Brides, which is about basically shipping all of these women to Australia. It's based on truth. It's based on fact, historical fact, but shipping them to be married to the men in Australia because there weren't as many women there at the time. So
sounds so fun,
doesn't it? Yeah. And so it's a great story,
Yeah.
get into a little bit of the historical fiction, but still it's a little more light than other kinds of stories.
Sure.
But I recommend her books.
I don't think I've read, I know the name, but I haven't read any of her stuff. I put down just sort of in general, like young adult fantasy, like give me Hunger Games, give me Maze Runner, Divergent. I eat it up.
Yep.
A few times.
I have read all of those. I haven't read Maze Runner, but the others I have.
Yeah. It's just it's the kind of like I said, it's more me kind of guilting myself, like, oh, I should be reading something a little bit deeper. But I mean, for me, it really is just truly escapism, because nothing about those worlds is familiar.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what I have for my reading, at least. Yeah.
Well, okay. I'll now here is where I'm gonna start like being hesitant to
even
expose
admit
myself.
Okay, because I have a thing that I was like, do I go there? So if you're gonna
I'll go first.
Okay.
So I have gotten into lately this little game app thing called Song Pop. And it is ridiculous how much joy it gives me, because it's just it's a game, and you can either play against the AI or you can play against real people. And there's 4 players in each round, and they play clips of songs from the rounds are all like themed.
Okay.
So like you can select that you want to do the 90s, whatever.
Okay.
And then whoever answers fastest, gets the most points or whatever.
Oh my gosh, that's so fun.
It is so fun to me. And
and let me just say, cooler than what I'm gonna say.
I don't know. It's pretty dorky. And so, but it is, it's like you hear a little snippet of songs you really liked or that you don't even remember. There's been a lot of them that I've like forgotten about, and get a little blast from the past.
Yes.
And also have little competition. And so, I'm pretty competitive. And so I really enjoy annihilating these people that I don't know.
And it's called Song Pop.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I think that's really fun.
You can do all different genres. You can do different eras, and then they usually, you're matched up with somebody who they're not necessarily wanting to do the same thing as you, but it like sort of generally.
Okay.
So you're not going to get in there and have to do like country if you're not into it,
Right. Okay. Yes. Because I wouldn't know very much.
Yeah. And it's funny because I feel like I still listen to music a lot, but not with the intensity that I did with music in the 90s.
Yeah.
And then the 2000s for me is real hit or miss. I don't know what I was doing for that first decade, but I was not listening to a lot of music, I guess, or not paying much attention to it. I don't know.
Well, and that's funny because that was like when I was in college and was really paying attention to what was out there. That was sort of my era of like, what's cool? How many bands can I get into that people don't know their names?
Yeah, that was the 90s for me for sure.
Yeah.
But it's great.
I love that. Well, and this was not what I was going to admit, but since we're talking about music, one thing I thought about, so the other day, you and I were sitting here in the back working on something, and I was telling you that Austin's One Moment in Time stuck in my head, and I don't know where it came from. I had to have heard it somewhere, and it just stuck. But I was like, man, I'm going to listen to that song. And I did. And then I kept listening to Whitney Houston. And again, I don't feel guilty for loving Whitney Houston, but it is just kind of one of those, like, I'm a children's librarian sitting in my car blasting One Moment in Time,
Yeah.
So, love Whitney. The thing I was going to admit, and I won't get too specific here because that gets where it gets really embarrassing, but Nick and I will occasionally, I don't know, follow reality television, certain reality TV shows. And again, it's another one of those, it's escapism. I have nothing in common. It's usually rich people, two beautiful people.
Yeah.
And I can't relate to their world or their problems or anything. So, and I it's fun to make fun of. I really enjoy that part of it too. So yeah, that's my actual guilty pleasure.
Well, that ties to my guilty pleasure a little bit too, or another one, and that is TikTok. Which, it's supposed to be like a kids thing, or it was. Let me say that.
Yeah, no, it's
but
more.
The grown-ups have taken it over now.
They have. So it'll be on its way out soon because of that.
Oh yeah, the kids aren't doing that hardly at all because the grown-ups are on there.
Yeah.
But it is like perfect just for like some of the people that I follow are just like news and it's not all just like doing dances or whatever.
Right.
Although those can be entertaining as well. But,
yeah, if you're good at it and you make it cute somehow.
Yeah.
No, I'm impressed. Yeah.
But so that there's lots of music, that kind of thing, and it's weird that I picked it up. And what's also weird is that I've been using it for about a year. It's like it was definitely a quarantine
Yeah.
started a little,
Yes.
not obsession,
Yes.
but routine or whatever.
Right.
And, I was not tempted prior to that by like Snapchat or
Yeah.
WhatsApp or any of those things that,
We're
again,
big at one point. Yeah.
yeah, and that, the kids will go to once the adults take over something,
Yes.
they go to
Yes.
the next one. And, I don't know, but it's definitely, I refer to it so much now because I watch it pretty frequently.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to like not be like, okay, here's this information that I got from this children's app,
Right.
but
Who
it's
told
serious,
you
it's
that,
real.
Crystal?
Yeah, exactly.
Someone I
Yes.
know, kind of.
But, as a librarian, I do have to say that, like, if I see something or hear something or whatever there, I
Yes.
do my due
Yes.
diligence and make sure
Yes.
that it is
Cite
truthful.
your source. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Not just believe in whatever these random strangers say on the internet.
Right. I love that. I've sort of actively stayed away from TikTok because I know myself. I
Mhm.
know that I will scroll forever until the end of time.
Yes. Yeah. And it's totally taken the place from me for Instagram. I hardly ever look at Instagram
Right. Yeah.
anymore.
No, I do. I I I have Facebook and Instagram, and that's pretty much all I can keep up with. And even then, I rarely post. It's all for viewing
Yeah.
and keeping up with stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like a early Twitter person.
Mm-hmm.
And, but it was always just following things. I didn't really
Right.
tweet. And
Yeah.
then I got into Facebook, but only because of work.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I post every once in a while there, but mostly it's work related. The
Right.
reason that I'm
Right.
on there. And, now TikTok, who knew?
Yep. Yep.
But they definitely, one replaces the other for me. I hardly like, our
Don't.
one is much
Yeah.
more heavily used than all the others.
Right. I can't stack too high as
Yeah,
far as social media goes.
exactly. There's just only so much that you need to spend your day on, yeah,
Yes. No, I cannot devote my day to scrolling. I know I could
yeah,
if I tried,
right.
but I cannot.
Yeah, yeah. Gotta rein it in. And then the last thing, which for me at least, I don't, if you
Mhm.
have more, we can.
I have one more that we can cover,
Okay,
but go for it.
okay. So we are making library encounter boxes, which are modeled on subscription boxes, which
Mhm.
everybody knows they're super popular right now.
Yes.
There's a subscription box for everything.
Yes.
And it's been another one of my, I don't go anywhere issues.
Yeah.
So I've
Yeah.
kind of gotten addicted to trying different subscription boxes.
Well, and I enjoy because you'll have them delivered here to the library, and so that so they don't get left on your porch.
Yeah.
But I really enjoy just seeing what's out there and what you get, and they come in cute boxes. So I'm
Yeah.
living vicariously through you.
Well, I can tell you like the ones to get and the ones to not get.
Yes.
For sure. Because there's only a couple of them that I've actually retained, so that I'm
Yeah.
still getting them monthly.
Right.
Others, I got one and said, no, that's enough, or give them a chance for a couple times and still nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. You should do
So
reviews for them. You can start a TikTok. Start doing that on TikTok.
there you go. Well, I will say that BoxyCharm, if you're into makeup and skincare and that kind of stuff, I think they're the best ones.
Okay, cool. BoxyCharm. BoxyCharm for the win. Excellent.
Yes. And they have like different levels. There's the basic one, which of course nobody wants the basic one. So you're going to get the premium as the next,
Right.
Whatever. And so I fully recognize that I am being manipulated by these things. But
I think that if you know you're being manipulated, you definitely have a leg up, though. So
right,
run with
I
that.
can
Yeah, for
I
sure.
can quit anytime. That's
Yeah.
that's what I said. I just don't want to right now. So
Yes. No, precisely.
but yeah, and then they have because I like expensive makeup, but I'm kind of cheap person.
Yeah.
And so
Mm-hmm.
I just won't pay full price for anything.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
so I would only buy makeup like when Sephora had a sale,
Yeah. Or if
Um,
someone gave you a gift card.
yeah, exactly. Which,
That's
hey, by the way, if anybody wants to give us gift cards, no, I'm just kidding.
Gift
We wouldn't
ideas
take
for
them.
your we would
But
say no, thank you.
no, thank you. We cannot be bribed. Um, but yeah, and so then I also tried a few others that were like more lifestyle,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't know about those.
Yeah. Were they what, like a little bit of a stretch or just not done
Not
well?
not very cool.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, there's one, I think I'm actually getting my first one today, even though
Mm-hmm.
I signed up for it a long time ago.
Oh,
Causebox
okay.
is what it's called. And it's like only 4 times a year,
Mm.
but it has in it like, um, I don't know. I think I'm getting some like blue tint glasses, or,
Mm.
the ones that protect you from
Yes.
looking at the screens on TikTok.
Yes.
And, things like that are just
Yeah.
like, I don't know, trendy lifestyle things.
Cool.
So we'll see if that one's good or not. But the other couple that I tried that were similar, I canceled.
Okay. Okay. Well,
And
yeah, I mean, pretty.
I've also been doing lots of food ones, like
Yes.
I don't know, whatever you call those.
Like meal kits
Meal
or
kit. Yeah,
yeah.
meal
Yeah.
kits. Yeah. And so I've tried pretty much every single one of those and have dropped them all. But
Yeah.
just because, like, the latest one that I got is Freshly,
Mm-hmm.
and frozen dinners are 1,000 times better than these things. They are
Oh
not good.
no.
And then
Oh,
other ones, it's just, it provides the ingredients and then you cook it.
right.
And some of them are very conscious about, not being wasteful and that kind of thing.
Right.
Um, but others, it's a bunch of tiny packages. And,
Yeah. What am I supposed to do with all of this? Yeah.
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 So, yeah, they're all overpriced because obviously they're
That's what I was
shipping
gonna
it to you.
say.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate about Freshly. If it's, not as good as a frozen dinner.
Because those are prepared. They just like you heat them
Right,
up
right. Ugh,
and
but it's like, yeah,
not good.
millions of dollars.
Yes. Anyway, so that's kind of been I am guilty about it because I feel like it's a weird thing to do, I don't know, to get
I,
these things and then be like,
sure,
no,
sure.
I'm canceling you after one time.
I
But
not
partly they give you a really good deal to get you
yes
hooked,
to
so you
sign
get,
up.
yeah, you get like for the first month or the first few months or whatever, you have a discount. Well,
Right.
I make use of that and then I look at, okay, and now that I'm not going to have this discount anymore, is this something that I want to keep?
Right.
And
See, and
usually it's not.
that's where you're not being manipulated. That's where
Exactly.
you have your leg up.
I'm I'm breaking ties with them.
Yes,
Not gonna fall.
exactly.
In fact, I'm using them.
You are. You are for the discount.
Right. Anyway, so that's my
I
main
think that's
guilty
a
pleasure.
yeah, I think that's a good one. I was just gonna end with my love of cartoons. I think it's kind of from the um same vein as my love for children's books in that way. And not necessarily, I don't watch like kids cartoons necessarily. Like I'm talking like The Simpsons and Bob's Burgers, but
Dora the Explorer.
right. Nick Jr. over here. No, but like, I have Disney Plus and I love being nostalgic and watching stuff, I watched as a kid and revisiting stuff like that. but I really appreciate a cartoon when it's done well. And so yeah, I'll end on that note.
Are there any others besides The Simpsons that you would say?
Well, because I have said before, The Simpsons might be my favorite show of all time.
It's
I
pretty
think
great. That's
it
one that when I was in college, we would every day it came on, like at
mhm,
5:30 or whatever,
yep,
and everybody would stop, or we would
yep,
go to the, like social area or whatever, and
yep.
everybody was watching it.
I, ugh, I'm like jealous that you got to watch it like that. But yeah, it was one that like I was strangely allowed to watch it as a kid. My parents were pretty strict about what I could watch, but I could watch The Simpsons. I think they wanted to watch it, and so they were just like, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I love The Simpsons. I'm trying to think. There's a new show called The Great North that was created by the same creators of Bob's Burgers, and
Hmm.
it's pretty good. I like Bob's Burgers more, but it makes me chuckle, so I'll take it.
I've heard of it. I mean, I've seen that it was on, but I haven't watched that.
Yeah, it's there are some of the same people. It's the same creator, and there are some of the voices are familiar voices. Will Forte is on there, Jenny
Oh,
Slate. That's all I can. Oh, his name is not Ron Swanson. His real name is
Nick Offerman.
Nick Offerman. Thank you. Yeah, Nick Offerman as well. So, yeah, it's pretty good.
That's a good cast.
It is, I know. Yeah. So I've been keeping up with it. I'm excited to see, where it goes. So, cartoons
Well,
forever.
yeah, this weekend I'm gonna watch the new episode of Handmaid's Tale.
Oh my
It
gosh.
came out, and I haven't watched it
Yep.
yet. And I think it actually a couple of days ago is when it premiered, but I haven't been able to like make myself decide to watch it. I don't know if
I
I would rather binge it once there's, all the
Right,
episodes,
right.
or if I'm just don't want to go down that dark path.
That's what I was about to say. And that's why Nick watched all of it by himself, loved it. He's as soon as his finals are done, he's going to dive back in.
Hmm.
But it's I would watch it, when he would have it on, but that's the reason why I never started it myself. I just
Mm,
it stressed me out
yeah,
to say the least.
it's rough, very rough.
But it is good. What the episodes I've seen, I mean, it's fantastic. It's really well done.
And it's kind of such a phenomenon. Like, I don't think I've ever seen, particularly like a literary writer like Margaret Atwood,
Mm-hmm.
after this series, release another book that
Right.
addresses things that came about in the series,
Right.
because
Uh-huh.
that's just, I can't think of another example of that. If somebody can, I'd be really interested to know. But
No.
um, because she had like a sequel follow up
Right.
to it, to her book that came out in the 80s and just came
Uh-huh.
out like last year or the
Right.
year
Yeah, I
before.
remember.
The Testament, I think, is what it's called. And it and everybody was talking about, well, the show went off and went, way further down the
Oh,
character's
yeah.
path than the original novel did.
Right.
And so they're like, how is she going to address that? And she just kind of took up that world that was created by a TV show
Oh,
and then wrote it
okay.
into it.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's very different.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, I will be watching it. I just maybe need to look at some funny TikToks first.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Psych yourself up
Or
a little
after.
bit and
Yeah.
have some before and after. Well, TikTok parentheses.
Palate cleanser, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's it.
Yeah.
Hopefully nobody thinks less of us for our guilty pleasures, and we'll still listen to us again when we're talking about more,
Yeah, yeah.
serious things.
Substantial. Yeah. But no, guilty pleasures are always so much fun.
Yes. You can all share them with us too. Like, just get it off your
Yes.
chest. We
Yes.
want to hear
Yes.
about it. Because it might be something
Obviously,
we want to
yeah,
do too.
yeah. I was gonna say, obviously, we will not judge.
Exactly. All right. Well, we'll be back here next Friday.
Sounds like a plan. Bye, guys.
Bye.